Hello, crypto cats. My name is Tom. I am the crypto investor, and it's time for our weekly market roundup. As ever, we start with the heat map of the top 100 tokens in crypto, and you can see that it has been an ugly week in crypto. Overall, the market has dropped 12%. That's the average. $270 billion wiped off the value of crypto. Ethereum down 16%. Bitcoin slightly less than the average, 11%. Overall, most layer ones getting demolished. Cosmos holding up pretty well, as I don't know what Clayton is, but Harmony One also looking pretty nice. I imagine, where's Phantom? Phantom 7%, despite them having a pretty nice looking week. The darling of the week has been Chainlink, up 27%, as they have announced that they are going to be providing staking. So they're going to be basically giving back some token incentives to the token holders, and so that has been a real standout token this week. Osmosis. Not familiar with that exchange token. Looking at the bubbles, and it's just red. I think behind my face here, there's Link and ICP, the Internet Computer Protocol, too centralized for my liking, I'm afraid. But yeah, not many shining lights in this whole space. Generally 20s, 30s down all the way. Looking at let's just refresh this because it could be, looking at the total TVL, you can see that Terra Luna has held its second place ahead of Binance Smart Chain despite losing 14% of its TVL, but it's up 7.6% today, whereas nothing else is bouncing. So value into Luna flying in, which and overall I imagine more UST being printed with this market move. So Luna could bounce back. It has bounced back rather well in past downturns, so it's definitely one to be watching in the next few days. And this market move really has been due to the TradFi macro world. The Fed have scared the market with their triple threat of policy change. They've basically said, we are terrified of inflation and we are going to have to reduce our bond buybacks. We're going to have to reduce the tapering on our debt of 9 trillion, and we're going to have to reduce increase interest rates. And so the market went into a tailspin on this really hawkish rhetoric coming from the Fed. And you can see, and for those who don't believe that the traditional finance world moves crypto, you can see the correlation. Literally the minute that this was announced, Bitcoin and the broader market started dropping. So I mean, this really is the catalyst. I know we always like to blame things on it, but it really seems very apparent it is. And you have to remember that so much this year of the investment came from institutions, and institutions play by very old rules of, if there's higher interest rates, then risk on assets, growth assets, crypto being one of those, are less appealing, and more appealing is to have value assets, investments that are making money today, as well as reliable assets that through interest like bonds and such that give them a set return. So that's really what I see happening personally. And all eyes are on the CPI print. This is the rate of inflation. I'm sure you're all aware, inflation's on the up, and you can see that this is inflation. Well, if we look over the last year, this is what inflation's been doing, and the last print was 6.8%. I believe the next print is on Wednesday, the 12th. I thought that they were actually anticipating 7.1%. So I'll just jump back one page. No, I can't. Well, either way, if we get anything much higher than 7%, then basically the Fed will have to do all of the things that it's saying. If it's plateauing, the market is going to celebrate, because it means that the Fed doesn't have to really start ramping up those interest rates, and the buyback. It can be a bit more considered in its response. So this is the big story, this macro picture that's going on right now. All right. This is just DeFi saying about the fear and greed index. And this statistically, we're looking at an extremely good time to be buying right now. The fear and greed index doesn't tend to get this low. I also wanted to include this, and I forgot to. So I'm just adding it now. Okay. Anyway, I wanted to just show you about the curve wars that are happening with DeFi. Well, not with DeFi. DeFi are putting a good piece on this, and basically there's demand for curve and Convex. I'm not an expert in this DeFi space. There's much better channels to be following me, than me on this. But basically, we're getting increased demand for Curve and Convex by all these DeFi protocols that need it. It's creating this lovely flywheel that's really pushing up the price of Convex and Curve. CRV and CVX are both looking very nice on the back of this, and I expect this to continue. If they're not in your portfolio, then you should strongly consider adding them to it. Okay, back to the macro stuff. Bitcoin, Kazakhstan is experiencing severe civil unrest. They even turned the internet off because it seems that the government have kind of walked away. The Russians have come in to stabilize things. And the reason this is important is because when we had the exodus of miners for Bitcoin from China, it seems that a lot of them went to Kazakhstan. I think 18% of mining is in Kazakhstan. And so, yeah, there you go, as much as 18%. So when they turned off the internet, the hash rate dropped considerably. And this generally, when the hash rate goes down, I believe Bitcoin miners have to sell effectively to meet their own needs. I'm not certain on that, but so I believe that that's why there's a correlation between the hash rate and the value. So this is another point which is potentially weighed on the crypto markets as a whole this week, but somewhat of a more temporary one, just to be aware of. All right, this is for me. This is the signal to focus on. So all of that, all of this is noise. These kind of temporary things about the macro environment and price movements. But the signal, the thing to be paying attention to, just like we talk about the adoption of crypto being faster than the internet, is also the number of developers in Web3. And you can see that we are up and to the right, that so many developers are. There's all these incredible stories of people leaving their very cushy jobs at Apple, Google, Facebook, whatever it may be, and joining the Web3 movement of a more independent and co-owned internet. And this is what makes me so bullish, so bullish on Web3, because this isn't temporary. These builders are here to stay. Many of the new retail crowd who have got into crypto will be fickle, and they will leave as they didn't get their moonshot Lambos after a year or so. But builders who are going into the space will persist, will stay, and this is the signal to be focused on, and this is what makes me very bullish, and this is how I can keep my optimistic and positive rhetoric to you lot when it looks like our house is on fire. And on the building front, I've made a significant move in my portfolio, and if you haven't watched my last couple of videos on this, then please, I urge you into POKT network. POKT, in very simple terms, is kind of like Amazon Web Services for Web3, and they provide a crucial part of the Web3 infrastructure. And it's still only over the counter only, so you have to watch my videos on how to buy it. But the revenues that they're generating are incredible. The traction they're getting is incredible. In fact, they've been added to Token Terminal this week, and you can see that if you account for the token rewards, so token incentives, as I've tweeted here, it would be the second most profitable blockchain. Ridiculous. It has a 2 billion market cap, so it put it about 75th or 80th or so by market cap, and here it is making 100 million. Over this period of time. So it would give it a very good price to earnings ratio. And I've just, so you can see this is those token incentives. The reason that POKT has gone up in price quite a lot in the last few days because of this. You're seeing more and more demand for their tech stack effectively by developers and blockchains, and it's leading to huge revenues for the protocol, 5 million a day in the last four days. And if you look at the metrics, it's up and to the right. The number of relays happening on their products are just exponentially growing, and they pay so much of this token incentive back to POKT holders. So if you run a node, you receive these token incentives mostly. So you get around a 400% return per annum. It's a very, very kind and generous wealth distribution model by Michael Rourke that has created it. He's a very decent guy. I got the privilege of meeting him briefly when I was in Portugal. He's in Tampa, Florida. And so, yeah, I've personally moved over 20% of my portfolio into this. because I really believe in the product, I believe in the team, and I think the revenues are extraordinary. So watch my other videos if you want to hear me shilling that more. The other big move I've made this week has been into Chainlink, another infrastructure play. As I said in my video, when you think about the kind of the pyramid of crypto, you've got really small granular projects, which are kind of your moonshots, which may be specific play to earn games or metaverses or even NFTs within those metaverses, and then you can kind of come up river and go for things that are a bit of a broad, easier catch, like layer ones, like Ethereum. We know Ethereum's going to succeed. It's much more upriver. It's got hundreds of thousands of projects built on top of it. 50% of all the projects are built using the Ethereum protocol. But you can come further upriver, I believe, in my opinion, and look at infrastructure that supports the whole system and are effectively kind of blockchain agnostic. So Pocket and Chainlink both support all the blockchains effectively. Anyway, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because that's the move. I've basically moved about 50% of my portfolio into those infrastructure assets and Ethereum as well. And the reason Chainlink has had such a good week is because they have, as I said that they will be providing a staking service, so you're going to start to get rewarded for holding Chainlink. And if you look at statistically, Chainlink, it was the token to be holding from 2018 to 2020. It did maybe several thousand%. I'd have to check, but it's because when you've got bear building, when you've got the builders in the bear markets, these are the tokens that are seeing adoption and application. So this is, if we are slipping into a bear market, which I don't still think we are, then they are a nice safer bet in my opinion. And Ethereum as well. I like looking at this from a perspective of if investors are looking at value stocks, then in the crypto space they're looking at productive assets. They're looking at the blockchains and the solutions, protocols that are making money today, that have cash flow. And of course, Ethereum has the biggest cash flow and the PE ratio of, say, 32, which would make it a value stock in the traditional finance world. So that's what makes me feel safe. And I'm sure that a lot of the smart institutional money makes decisions based on income, based on how productive the asset is. Okay, so this was just the fact that you're seeing a number of the kind of DeFi 2.0 protocols clubbing together, effectively forming kind of mafias. They're realizing that they're all doing very similar things, and so they're stronger together. So we're seeing a lot of these kind of aggregating together, which is an interesting dialogue for 2022, and we might see more of this. Back to Pocket, I'm a bit obsessed. I'm afraid this channel could become somewhat of a Pocket channel. I will try to remain impartial. But yeah, they have this. They're saying that they've got this big announcement coming. This was on January 4th, so 5 days ago. And Binance have they kind of had this website available that you could see Pocket was listed on Binance. So that there is some possibility that Binance may be listing Pocket. Pocket made it very clear that they will be releasing W Pocket, which will be wrapped Pocket on Ethereum, which will have these kind of built-in token incentives into it. So yeah, that could be the big announcement that's coming soon. Just speculation. Don't know what. This is just confirmation that Phantom have been seeing significant adoption as a blockchain. Harmony One and Phantom have been the blockchains that have really been the layer ones that have really been gathering some steam this week, and just confirmation of their transaction rates on the up. And that is that same thing. All right, Crypto Cats, let's jump into the charts, shall we? I'm first going to start with the NASDAQ, and we don't normally do this. This is the top 100 tech companies in the US. And just because this is, as I said, what is driving the market right now, you can see that in the last week we've had this big, nasty engulfing candle. We have seen kind of things before like this. And as I said, the market's probably going to stay around here until the 12th, until we get that CPI print. If we don't get big inflation, we're coming back up. If we do get, if we get like an 8% CPI inflation, then we're going to see something really nasty happen. I think in the stock market, probably an 8% pullback. If we get like 8% inflation, because it means interest rates are going up straight away and aggressively, and that's going to hurt the crypto markets more in the short term. So that's just this is what to be aware of. I think if we get past Wednesday with a 6.8 or a lower, rejoice. Market highs all round. So this, for me, is the pivotal kind of news event coming up. Set your watches or watch your charts, or keep your powder dry perhaps until after that chasm is jumped. This is looking at the total crypto market. So you can see that, as discussed, we had a 12% pullback. Yeah, 12% pullback, $280 billion liquidated. We are nicely, I would say this is a wonderful time to be leaning in. I've personally been dollar cost averaging into Ethereum and a little bit of Luna, as well as my big moves into Pocket and Link this week. You would say that statistically speaking, this is a wonderful time to be leaning in. As I said, the CPI print is that pivotal news event, which we need to get past. I'll start with Ethereum first, which also kind of correlates very closely to that total market cap of crypto chart, and you can see that this has provided a very good time to be leaning in. And also, what I liked was that if you put the 200-day moving average on here, we can see that over the last, I tweeted this, that over the last something like 630 days, we've only spent 11 days below that 200-day moving average. And now that's something like 14 days. So maybe we're going to see something like this with a little flirt underneath it and move back up. Or we're coming down into a bit of a bear market for the for the foreseeable future. So it's very significant that we're below the 200-day moving average right now. Doesn't mean for certain that the party's over, but it's what I'm keeping a very close eye on. I've got an alert set here on the 200-day. In fact, I could even just do it on the 200-day like that. Anyway, this is what you should be aware of. And as I said, Wednesday will be that pivotal moment. And again, Bitcoin correlated, sitting on that trend line just the same as well. What we may get is like a fake out and then a move up. We'll see. But it's a little bit shaky ground right now. But I'm in it for the long term. I know that Web3 adoption is only going up and up and up, and so I'm positioning myself into infrastructure, continuing to dollar cost average into this and playing this as the long game. I'm not here to make a quick buck today. I'm building a portfolio for the future. I always say that time in the market is better than timing the market, and you should invest that way. Okay, so DeFi on the week is down much the same. Again, correlated, similar. Metaverse versus Ethereum, neutral on the week. Bitcoin shorts still up somewhat. I'm kind of happy. I'd like to see them up further, and then more of a chance of a liquidation event. Luna jumping quite nicely today, up 7.4% after this fairly aggressive pullback. We got to 100, and we've since come back down. But as I said, Luna does very well after market drops. It tends to be one of the first to recover quickly and aggressively due to the number of UST that is printed, the Terra stable coin. If you print UST, you have to burn Luna, so it has a deflationary impact on the supply. So it tends to be a very good option for bouncing back. Looking at Bitcoin's dominance, we can see that again we flirted with the. Let's just reset this chart. It's a bit cleaner. Actually, take it onto the weekly. Okay, yeah, you can see that we flirted again with this 40% line in the sand of total market cap of crypto, only to see a bit of a bounce, as Bitcoin represents that safer asset within this space. I still think we break down eventually. And looking at ETH dominance has had a terrible week. I thought that 20%, effectively that we'd broken 20% dominance, we'd come back for the retest and we were going to resume up, and I was wrong. We have since failed the retest, and Ethereum's dominance is coming down now to 19% and may come down further. This is really because we're seeing more and more layer ones gaining traction. When we look at the dominance so Bitcoin's dominance is flat, Ethereum's dominance is down. But when you look at, say, Phantom, it's hitting all-time highs. Okay, it's 0.3% of the market, but it's in price discovery. When we look at Harmony One, this isn't a great chart, it doesn't have much data, but you can see Harmony One it's taking market share. So this is what's taking away from the likes of Ethereum at the moment. Lunar dominance still holding up okay. We're still up at, it's still done great guns. Look at it. So it's important not to always value your portfolio in US dollars. Think about what its dominance is within the total market. Matic as well. Okay, it's come back, but hey, you'd be wishing for 0.74% throughout all of this period of time. Okay. And Atom, I imagine, has also increased its dominance somewhat. And let's finally look at Chainlink. So Chainlink it's looking very, very bullish. We're trending back up now. It's still got a long way to go. I think as soon as the market shows some stability, Chainlink is potentially heading to all-time highs. I think this has got a lot of room still to go. Personally, not financial advice. I'm just a guy on the internet. You know this. And also, I haven't told you to please press the like button and subscribe if you do get any value out of the content that I put out. And please comment. I don't know who's watching. A few of you comment. And that's it, really. I think we'll end it there. I hope you found it useful. And if you haven't, check out my other videos on POKT, link above, and I will speak to you soon. All the best.